At some point, she was like firmly gripping my stuff and not letting go all the time during the weekends. Like there's people there. And that's when it got even more aggressive.
Stripping you down.
Yeah, like not just like rape, like he's raping me, he's raping, like pointing to me. And that's, yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you still believe all women?
All right, welcome to One Night Stand-Up Comedy. Tell us your sexy stories. I'm Alfie Roselli.
And I'm Rebecca Rochon. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is the show where we talk about your wildest, craziest dating stories.
We got a crazy DM on Instagram at One Night Stand-Up Comedy Show. Be sure to DM us, like, comment, subscribe, follow. This all comes from Emmerson, all the way from Washington, D.C. It involves a drunken night and the Lincoln Monument. And possibly a false rape charge. Is there any statues that you find attractive?
You know, I can't say I've been turned on by a statue. They're usually little boys peeing in a pond. Monument. Oh. Terry Fox. Duh.
Terry Fox?
Duh. He's hot. He's got a good face.
Like, even though he's missing a leg, he kind of had like a nice little sexy like swagger hop to his run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it didn't look like he had one leg. It looked like he had a little swagger to it.
We're going to get our citizenship taken away.
Yeah. So let's hear it from Emmerson. Emmerson? Welcome, Emmerson.
Great to have you here. What happened after you arrived at the memorial?
Yeah, like you guys were out drinking for a bit. You're having a good time. Last call comes, and she's like, hey, let's go hit up the Lincoln Memorial. You're like, sure, great. Sounds good. She has a little twinkle in her eye, like she wants to get it on.
Yeah, you know, and she at some point had mentioned that even though she lives relatively close to DC, she never really been to any of the monuments. So I thought it was a drunken, like a tour guide.
Yeah. You probably get there a lot from dating people out of town coming into Washington D.C. want someone to show them around. First we'll go see the Lincoln Monument, and then I'll show you my Washington Monument.
Yeah. So we're walking, but that's when it hits me. I was like, oh man, like after all of this talk over text messages that, you know, all those questions that she was asking about, you know, if I think that anyone has ever had sex at any of the monuments, do I think, you know, what the repercussions are if anybody were to get caught? For the most part, when you're texting all sexedly, you're just kind of like revert back to your high school days. You're like, dude, this is sex talk. Like, this is awesome. You know, you don't really think about anything that's actually going to happen. You're like, I'm going to touch a boob at some point. Like, that's what I want to do. And then when we start walking, that's when it kind of just hit me.
Was she speed walking towards it? Like, what hit you? Was it just like she had that look in her eye?
As we approached, I guess I kind of saw her like getting a little bit excited and was like, oh man, like, yeah, we're here. You know, this is it. You know, I'm like, yeah, this is it. You know, what is it? What's it for you? And then, so we get there and I'm trying to like keep it like now I'm just like very, very nervous. The memorial itself is just surrounded by a bunch of like gray concrete square slabs. And so we were just like, as soon as we approached the memorial, she just kind of perches herself up on one of them and gives me one of these. And I was just like,
Has that ever happened to you before, that a girl literally goes like this?
Yeah, of course.
If a girl does this, she's not getting cold feet. That's cold time. That's like, there's no feeling out process.
That's consent.
You know, but I'm still a dude. I'm like, all right, let's see. Okay, let's see.
We'll make out for a bit.
Yeah.
What's the harm?
Yeah. If it starts getting hot and heavy, just bring up your apartment and be like, hey, I don't live too far. You know, just like, hey, let's hop in the cab.
I don't live too far. It's kind of tense around monuments now in the United States. So I don't know if you know this.
That's the last thing. Yeah. It was hot and heavy extremely fast. And then like I said, within 5 or 10 minutes of us making out, then she just immediately starts reaching for my belt, like not even unbuttoning my shirt. It was just like straight from my belt, straight from my zipper. Let's just be a hand job, like it just like in the pants hand job. You know what I mean? I'm looking around. I'm like, maybe this we can get away with. If there's one thing that we can get away with, it's like this. And then immediately like pulls me in and then whispers, you're like I want you inside me. And I said, I did think about it for a second. I was like, man, but then you're looking around and there's people at all of the monuments that like, all the time during the weekends. Like there's people there, like no matter what, it could be 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 1 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. It's just like a thing that some people do.
It's literally one of the only things I would think to do going to Washington.
Yeah.
Like, I don't
you're
know
not wrong.
And then goes to walk by the White House. There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
And
so
notice how I said, I just got to make sure as a white person, I said walk by the White House, not storm it.
and admire it.
I was like, I'll fool around even in the back of a cab if you want to, but I'm like, I'm not doing this here. And that's when it got even more aggressive. She started like unbuttoning my shirt and then even unbuttoning my pants even more and everything.
Just stripping you down in public.
Yeah. Just it was.
This is happening. Emmerson, she was like, "This is happening."
Like, I just think it is really close to rape at this point. Like,
I mean, it was aggressive. I was being violated and without even really noticing
in public.
It was like kept just trying to bat her hands away, and then she just kept calling me a pussy.
She called you pussy.
And it kept calling me weak, and she was like, "This isn't the time to be weak." Like I was like, "I feel like this is the time to be weak." Like,
what would Lincoln think?
Yeah.
What would Lincoln think of you right now, you weak man? It's just
Look at these powerful men around us. You're clearly you never measure up to these guys.
She's trying to give you like a storming Iwo Jima type speech where it's like, now's not the time to be weak. Yes, you can get in trouble.
Yeah, she was just sort of like
not.
She was sort of just pulling out an American flag and just waving it around.
Right? Like she's going right after your manhood. She's like right after the manhood while holding your manhood.
Yeah. And
I
had forgotten to mention at some point she was like firmly gripping my stuff and not letting go. And
how'd you get out of that stronghold grip?
Like I kind of just put my forearm like to her chest and I kind of gave her like one shove, and then that's when she like loosened up, and then but she just kept on coming, and then I was like I like hated that it resulted in this, but I was like I have to be like physically like much more physical than I am now, so I gave her like a huge nudge. Yeah. And she went straight down to the ground, and then that's when
she's blackout.
So she like went to the ground, and then I just took like one look at her, and I'm just like, and my clothes are disheveled. I mean, they're like.
Let me set up this visual. So your clothes are completely like disheveled off. Your Johnson's out. Your belt's undone. Now anyone walking by would see a woman on the ground, you with your clothes off, looking angry. Yeah. That's the visual right now.
That is exactly the visual. And then next you know, she just starts screaming rape at the top of her lungs. Just starts screaming. And so she's like, not just like rape, like he's raping me, like pointing to me. And that's Yeah. The point wasn't even necessary. If you came around the corner, you saw me. Like it was very obvious who it was, I guess.
This can't be her first setup. It just can't.
Yeah.
That's diabolical.
I mean, anyone even walking by it, like if I got taken down to the ground right at that moment, like they have every right. Like they had every right to be like, dude, we just took down a predator. Like we got him.
Yeah. In front of Lincoln, I wouldn't miss up my opportunity to do that.
Oh my God.
I'd be like, yeah, I'm a hero. This is a layup.
I don't know if you've seen the show What Would You Do? That show I would be like, this is my time.
This is my time.
I'm gonna be the hero today.
Yeah, this has to be.
This man is going down, and I'm gonna give a whole speech about how he's bad.
Yeah. Just like with his like foot on my chest and just saluting Lincoln, just like we did it for America.
God bless America.
Let me ask you this: do you still believe all women?
Yeah.
Because I don't know, like I wouldn't blame you at this point.
Yeah. No, listen, now that I was in that scenario, you're just like, yeah, I guess some are,
Yeah, what's up? I was like, no, on second thought, let's hear both sides just once.
Yeah. Let's hear all parties.
There could be a little gray area and believe all women. It's a tiny little gray.
Oh man. So she's screaming, and then right at that moment, I'm just looking around, and then you just see heads start popping out like in the distance. And then in the moment I look up the monument, when I see a couple of actual police officers like coming around one of the pillars. And then it was instantaneously, where I didn't bat an eye, I didn't think twice. I did a full 180 and I just took off running. Yeah. And I ran for almost exactly 3 miles. I was like, basically like, I'm a fugitive. I have to run for my life.
I'm a slave pre-Lincoln.
Yeah. It was all
They
very
won't believe
fitting.
a word I say. It doesn't matter. They're gonna believe
that's
this
exactly
woman.
what I was thinking. Like,
And as a survivor of multiple molestations, I'm wondering, did you blame yourself?
I mean, to the point where, that's a good question. To the point where I was like, man, the signs were there.
Like she had crazy signs? Like
Yeah. On the
Yeah,
text.
what
What was
messages
like the
were.
blaring one that you're like, what? How did I miss that?
When she kept asking like what the criminal charges would be if people got caught having sex at the monument, because like I
this
said,
is a fantasy of hers. She was wanting to do this.
I think she wanted to get caught. Like that was the weird part. I think she wanted to get caught because you know, there's like questions that you ask like, oh, like where's the craziest place you've ever had sex? You know,
Wouldn't it be so hot if I framed you for rape?
Yeah.
Right? So
oh my god, is that a
Sounds like
sexy-
this girl has a sense of humor.
God, that's so sexy.
So then you
So,
got
yeah.
home. So did she talk to you after that?
The next morning I wake up and I turn my phone comes on and I wake up to over 50 text messages from her. And it's basically her just challenging my manhood the entire time. Like, she's like, you are such a bitch. You're a pussy. You're the weakest man I've ever tried to date. I was just like,
Emerson, you can't even stand up to a rape charge. How dare you? You
yeah, how
pussy.
dare you? Yeah. She's like,
You can't even stick around for a false rape allegation.
yeah, and the crazy thing is, she's like over text message describing the whole situation. Like, you should have fucked me at the Lincoln, you pussy ass. And I was just like, hey, I was like, all right. I was like, man, if there's a charge out there for me, like, let's print out the transcript and let's take it straight to court.
She's not clever. I don't get
Yeah.
it. Men, they are fine with rejection. Women, it's the worst. I know myself. I hate it. Everyone, like, it's really hard to deal with. But it just sounds to me like this is a situation where when faced with rejection, she just like not even doubled down, but like quadrupled down.
And then sat on it.
And then just tried to ruin your life. Like,
It seems like she had a fantasy to have sex outside. Like
Yeah.
that was her fantasy. That was her goal of the night. Not only did you get in the way of that, but also you made her feel rejected. So she's like,
Yeah, right.
how can I destroy this man? It's like, I know.
part of your story was that she was calling you a faggot, and you
Yeah.
were like,
Yeah.
and you were like, hey, like, don't say that, you know?
Right. So like,
That's offensive.
I had forgotten to mention that. So yeah, she's called.
That's
look,
huge.
At the end of the day, I am like a semi-comical guy, and like I'm very sarcastic, and so yeah, she was calling me a bitch, calling me a pussy, calling me a faggot, and then like I was like, whoa, you know, like hey, you know, pump the brakes.
I like dirty talk, but that's a bit much.
Yeah. When it's outside of my PC realm, I gotta
Just-
pump the brakes here, sweetheart.
There's
Yeah.
dirty talk and hate speech. Let's just stop.
Yeah, I was like, God, like, come on, I got gay friends. I'm not gonna like this.
The thing is, like, I don't fault you for that because she gave you signs, but those are like kind of like crazy girl signs. So at least you're like, oh, this will be at least be good sex.
Yeah, right.
But it's the
Yeah.
level of crazy. If you knew the level of it, because it's like it's all right, a little bit of crazy. You're gonna have a one night stand. She shows up drunk already. Okay, well it's a one night stand area. That's cool. That's
Right.
respectable. She's a little crazy, a little loony, but she wants to bang. So let's just try it. But then she just went 100 with the crazy. Like it's just
Yeah,
Seems like
yeah.
that's
the-
too
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
There needs to be a line of just a perfect amount of crazy, where once the night ends, she's gone. The crazy's out of your life.
Right.
And that's what guys need to learn. They need to learn because crazy is hot. Crazy's hot. You should experience crazy. But I think a man needs to develop his own crazy line where it's just like you cross the crazy line,
Yeah.
the crazy
yeah,
hot
yeah.
scale, you crossed it, and now you're not hot anymore, and I'm terrified.
I think she was like the embodiment of female insecurity, like, because it seemed like she was very uncomfortable with being in any kind of feminine energy from the very start. She was just like drinking beers to emasculate you, not letting you catch up, not letting you win anything, right? And then
Right.
like going there, just being like absolutely aggressive about like, fuck me now, you better fuck me, or you're not gonna leave here until you fuck me kind of vibe. And then
Yeah.
just like, and then the second you reject her, her just like doubling down on like, you're not even a man, you suck, blah, blah, blah. Some kind of, I feel like a good strategy in that situation, and I don't know if this would work, but this is just my thought, is that guys should just become extremely masculine, like non-masculine.
Yeah, just go straight soy boy.
Just become because if you're hot and you confidently reject her and go, you know what, my apartment's close, and you're like coming across like really attractive there, right? Like she's gonna be attracted to you, which unfortunately means she'll be even meaner, right?
Right.
She's even more hurt. So if you were to do something like agree or be like, oh, come on, our Lincoln really in front of him? I don't know, like I'm not sure. Then she might just become so unattracted that she finally leaves you alone.
Be extra nice
because she's making the choice in that case, right?
Right. Maybe I should have started crying much earlier.
Loser.
Yeah, become the loser. If
become
you're not interested,
loser,
that's
man.
a very good point.
It's a better strategy.
Yeah, because then they can't claim rape, because then you're acting like a pussy. Like, this guy's clearly not able to do it.
There's no way this guy could have done it.
Just go full soy boy, but like offer, like, may I kiss you?
Yeah.
Is it okay if I undo my own belt?
Do I have consent?
Consent. And then halfway through, do I still have consent?
Right.
Every half minute. That's true. That's how you get rid of them.
Yeah. Keep asking for consent.
Even when we're having drinks, but like, is it okay if I have another? All right.
Even when you're in penetration, is it okay if I go in another inch? May I insert the last inch, madam? Like, what's the pettiest reason why you've ever stopped dating somebody?
I think the pettiest reason is one girl just kept bringing up books that she had read at the dumbest times. That's
what every man wants, illiterate, well-read women, right?
Oh, I can't wait to introduce you to my friends so you can go on about F. Scott Fitzgerald and how talk about old money and new money and how it relates to today's society. It's just like
I read books occasionally, but like I don't talk about them at every waking moment.
Yeah.
Like I would be like telling her a story. I was like, yeah, like my friends and I were in, Colombia at a bachelor party, and there was like these girls and everything. She's like, have you ever read The Prince by like Nicola Machiavelli? I haven't. I'm a dumb man. Like, I haven't. Stop bringing up these stupid fucking books.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, like bringing up novels that are irrelevant. I was like, and also this, I bet you this, I've never read that book. Guarantee you has nothing to do with the story I was just telling you.
Well, like, time and place. Like you're in a flow of a story. Like, I want to share the story with you, and she's like, oh, that reminds me of this book. And it's like, I'm about to tell you a sloppy story about me in South America with my friends.
Right.
Yeah. Like I was like, I almost overdosed on cocaine. She was like, oh, I got this perfect book for you. It's like, well,
it better be Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
yeah. It can't just be the only thing you talk about. And like, I don't mind her like nerding out on certain things, or anyone nerding out on anything in particular. A partner now, like she's incredibly smart. Like wrote a book like during the pandemic just as a hobby. Like that's like
that's so cool.
And writing a book is very different than like reading a book.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
You know what? Especially during the pandemic where you guys are like stuck in close quarters. She's like, I'm gonna go write my book. And you're like, oh, thank God. That's like an hour or two by yourselves. It's just great. It's great.
Yeah.
Everybody wishes their partner would write a book during the pandemic.
Yeah. Let me binge some show you definitely hate watching.
Make it a trilogy.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on a date with a girl that was super aggressive like that, but then you liked it? Or is that just like across the board a no-no? Because like for me, I really like when there's like a build-up, and I find that men appreciate that too.
The short answer is yeah. I definitely been like semi-attracted to some girls who have come off a little bit too strong, and in college there was this girl that I met, this French girl, and was like, it was like very, very much like Megan Fox kind of looking, which is like my style, just like brunette, light eyes.
Your type is like Megan Fox. That's so weird.
I know. Yeah. Super. I know you probably never heard that before.
No.
Yeah, I know. But she looked just like her. Like it was kind of crazy.
Crazy.
But
lucky boy.
I never. But when the first time we ever like messed around, she's like was so into like aggressive, like kind of dom play, where like when she was on top of me, and we're like making out, she like sits up, and I'm thinking that she's just gonna take her shirt off. So then I go to kind of like wiggle and out of my shirt, and then when I look back up, she just has her fist cocked back to go punch me, like just to punch me. And so she swings at me, and then I block it, and I have to throw her off. And I was like, what the fuck was that?
Oh, dude, that's happened to me before too. I thought it was
Really?
I thought it was just a crazy girl, and I was like, that was my line. Like that was my line. Where it was like, this was a crazy girl that became
Punching you in
scared.
the head?
It was just like, yeah. She's on top, and she's like, oh, she hit me, and I push her off. I'm like, what was that? And she's like, oh, I like to punch when I come. And I'm like, okay, well then that was the last time you're coming with me, baby.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's fucked up, right?
That's not a good reward for making someone come.
Yeah, you know, what did I do wrong?
I literally was like, what the fuck are you doing? And she was just like, yeah, like this is just what I'm into. Like I like to be very, very aggressive. And, you know, she's like, you can hit me too. I was like, I am. Like,
wait, if that's going to happen, I need you to say that directly into a camera. I need to be.
My whole life I've been programmed not to.
Yeah, I'm like, I need to contact a lawyer. I need to get some sort of like affidavit. Like I need to do something where there's like
at least a note from your parents. I don't care if you're 21 or older. I see that.
At the time, I'm 20, maybe 21 years old.
Yeah.
And like, I was still like, I try to set ground rules with her, but every single time that we were hooking up, I was still like, hey, hold on. What are you lifting your hands up for? And she's like, no, like I'm giving you a hug. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Because like at 20, 21, a lot of guys, we're just happy to have sex. Like we're not really into kinks yet, right? We're not into that stuff. So it's like a girl takes a swing. We're like, what the fuck was that? What did I do wrong?
I was nervous every single time I messaged her. Every single time we hung out. Well, that's because
she's letting you have sex in your 2021. It's just like, I can't let this go yet.
Right.
So you go through adolescence of, you know, junior high, high school. You get all these boners. You don't know what to do with them. And then finally a woman wants to sleep with you, but she's crazy and throws punches. And you're like, well, a black guy still is better than not having sex.
Right. Yeah.
For
that's
6
exactly
years.
It.
Sex.
Yeah, like if I'm writing a pros and cons list at 21, I'm like, all right, like, you know, this doesn't seem so bad.
13-year-old me would be very disappointed in me for giving this up.
Was she older than you, or was she the same age?
No, she was about the same age as me.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's pretty early to develop that kink, I would say. So she was pretty bored with sex by then, too.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming by. That was a lot of fun. And I'm so sorry that you were not only raped, but then framed for raping.
Yeah.
At a public monument.
Lincoln, no less.
Yeah, our Lord and Savior Lincoln, you know. No, it's cool. And yeah, it's a crazy story, but a fun story to tell. And yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It's been a lot of fun.
Oh, dude, that was
great
awesome.
meeting you guys.
Thanks for coming on. That was dope.